Hello, everyone, and welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of the new Sam Raimi film, Sin Help. This is a horror survival thriller that stars Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien as an employee and her boss become stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash and attempt to survive while tension rises between them. This film was highly anticipated by me. I was looking forward to this movie like nobody's business. I am a huge Sam Raimi fan. I'm not a fan of every film that he's done, but I am a fan of him, if that makes any sense. The Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness was the one that I'm like, I really didn't like it. But, as far as an Evil Dead movie, but as a movie, I enjoyed Army of Darkness. Then you talk about Drag Me to Hell, and my God, the Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire. Not so much Spider-Man 3, but you can enjoy it. The last time he directed a film, I believe, was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is another one that's kind of diversive. But I can make an argument that that film was good for what it was. And this is more of his wheelhouse when we get to Sin Help, when you incorporate the horror element of it all. Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien, two actors who I really enjoy. Rachel McAdams, show me a bad Rachel McAdams performance. Pretty sure you could probably go through a filmography and pick a movie that you don't too much care for that she starred in. But as far as her performance is concerned, I can't think of one. I've really enjoyed her in all that she does. And what makes Rachel McAdams special, she can play in any genre, whether it's a comedy, a teen comedy like she did with Mean Girls, or a semi-horror film with Red Eye, or a romantic drama like The Notebook, and so on and so forth. Even in Doctor Strange, in the comic book movie, she was in that. She has a wide range for an actress, and I don't think she gets the credit she deserves. Dylan O'Brien, another one. Of course, we all remember him from The Maze Runner and films like that. American Assassin, and just recently, he was in a horror film. Oh Lord, Caddo Lake, I think it was called Caddo Lake. It was good. He was good in it, and putting these two together was interesting. I'm like, okay, let's see how this worked. We've seen the stranded on the desert island trope done many times in film, so it's nothing new when it comes to that. There's only so many directions you can go with a stranded on a desert island film. you know, we just saw, well, not just, but we saw Tom Hanks pull it off with a volleyball. And so, where can you go? Where can you elevate this survival type film? Well, you add Sam Raimi to it. You give him the rings. You let him do his thing. Let him cook. And boy, did he cook. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed Sin Help. Sin Help is one of the best films of the year, which isn't a stretch to say because we're only in January. But it's one of the best films of the year so far. It is so fun to watch this movie. So disturbing to watch this movie. The tension, the way that Sam Raimi directs this film caught me completely out the blue. I did not expect this film to go in the direction that it did. Number one, I didn't expect this movie to be as funny as it was. And I'm not talking like slapstick comedy. I'm not talking like forced joke type comedy film. I mean, just organic, funny moments that happen throughout this film in the midst of the tension, kind of breaking the levity, if you will. And it worked. It worked. It didn't feel cheap. It didn't feel like, oh, let's tell a joke here. This is a good place to put in a joke and all this. It was none of that. It was organically woven into the story, and man, it just flowed so well. Um, our two leads. Let's get to the two leads here with Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien. I didn't talk them up to the moon almost early on. But as far as this film is concerned, beginning with our lead, Rachel McAdams, my God, my God, she killed it. No pun intended. She killed this role, man. She really dove in head first, man. She turned herself over to Sam Raimi and trusted him and allowed him to do all the things that Sam Raimi is known for doing. And she rolled with it, bruh. The way her character switches and transitions throughout this film, but yet keep that same personality was so cool. I can't remember the last time I saw a performance like that, and I know it's weird to be talking about a potential award-winning performance. I'm not going that far with it, but I mean, this is a really good performance to the point where her character goes from being this recluse, this weirdo in the office, awkward and creepy type, the kind of coworker you have where you really don't want to be around them because they're so annoying and fidgety and stuff. That's who she is. But once she gets stranded on this island with her boss, it is a switch there. She turns into Rambo almost, but she's still that same creepy weirdo recluse type at the same time. And man, it was a joy to watch her perform here. Great job on her. Dylan O'Brien as her sexist, misogynistic boss that she has. He did a good job holding that down. He really was that type of boss where I think we know them, or you are them, or you know somebody who works for them. Have a boss like this who just got there through privilege, not didn't work their way up. They just inherited this position and think they know everything, but don't know. It's in this case, Rachel McAdams' character, Linda, she knows more. She actually can run the company. And when Dylan O'Brien's father passed away, he kind of sent word, or told his son to promote her so she can handle the company business because she was good at it. But of course, once he passed away and his son inherited the company, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And so she knows more than him. She knows how to run the company. He's just this little pompous idiot, and trust me, I felt it. I know Rachel McAdams' character because I am Rachel McAdams' character. I've worked on a job where I knew more than my boss and all this here. It's not easy. It's not easy. And throughout this film, all I could think about is, what would I do if I was stranded? Well, the guy ain't my boss anymore, but if I was stranded on a deserted island with him, I don't know. I don't know if I would have had Rachel McAdams' resolve. He wouldn't have lasted the first night, but that's neither here nor there. But Dylan O'Brien did a good job as the boss, as the antagonist. He wasn't the villain per se, but he was the antagonist to our lead. But the real star of this movie is Sam Raimi. It's Sam Raimi adding his flair. If you are a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, if you're a fan of his other properties in the horror genre, like Drag Me to Hell and stuff like that, this is your typical Sam Raimi film. If I wouldn't have known Sam Raimi directed this movie and started watching it and when things start going bananas crazy, I would be like, man, Sam Raimi must have directed this movie. Because you know his signature, you know his style. It just and and it worked for this movie because you had to do something different because we've seen this movie before. And so you had to kind of change things up, add a little hot sauce to it, if you will. And just the little things, little subtle things that he did throughout the film to kind of keep the tension high, not knowing what was coming next, even though you kind of knew what was coming next, but he found the way to kind of divert your attention away to certain things, to whereas you can't really lock in on what's coming up. I thought was pretty genius. This is one of his better films in the last few years. I would say this is peak Sam Raimi. If you're a fan of his, if you're not a Sam Raimi fan going into this, you're probably not going to enjoy this movie. It's just to be frank about it. This is a Sam Raimi film. That's my best way to describe this. As much as I enjoyed this movie, as much as I'm screaming that this is the best film of the year so far, I do have problems with it. Number one, I don't like the ending of this movie. The ending almost ruined the movie. It was that bad of an ending. Not to say that I didn't suspect that the movie was going to end in this manner, but I was hoping that it didn't. And that's what disappointed me. When the movie ended, I was like, oh man, literally the last 5 minutes of this movie. You went through 2 hours just to end like that. I was like, oh come on, man. That is so cheap. It was the cheapest ending of all times. To say that this movie was written fairly well, directed fairly well, acted fairly well, and to get to the end and they just like, oh man, we got to end this somewhere. Okay, let's end it here. And that was it. There's another part of this movie I can't talk about because it's kind of spoilery, but I didn't like that part of it. Just know that it involves a rescue attempt of sorts. And I'm probably saying too much there, but it's I didn't like that part of the movie, and it just threw everything off. But other than that, once that little section there, that little portion of the movie was over, it kind of got back on track for a little while. It did. Then we got to the ending, and it was like, really? But that could be me just being greedy when the movie ended because I was enjoying it so much. I didn't want it to end. I really had a good time with Send Help. I highly recommend it. Send Help gets a letter grade of a B+. Yeah, pretty good movie, man. I'm shocked on how good it was. I was just looking for something to turn my brain off for a little while. Something to just to make me feel good, escape from the world that feels like it's crumbling around us if you watch the news. But I just looked for something just to enjoy for 2 hours, and I end up leaving finding something that I can't wait to see again. I would love to know, what did you think of Send Help? Did you enjoy it? Did you not like it? Or were you asking for help while you was while you sitting in there and somebody come rescue you out of the theater? Let me know. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for this show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Send Help. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.